Welcome to Find a Builder program. This is Allyse Sedivy. We are on call number 7, and today we're going to be talking about how to overcome concerns. Now, this is a really important skill set that you need, not only in your business, but in life. But every time you sample someone, every time you invite someone to a class, when you want them to sign up for a kit, for sure when you're introducing them and getting them excited about doing the business with you, if you don't have a systemized way of knowing how to overcome concerns, then sometimes you just get flustered and you stop. And I can tell you this, every single builder that I've ever had has had many concerns. So if I stopped with a builder every single time they had a concern, I'd probably have none of my builders that I have right now. So we need to really study this, practice this, and get comfortable with overcoming concerns. And we're going to go through this step by step. I'm using my information today from a really incredible man, a great leader. His name is Seth Resume, and he presented years ago this PowerPoint presentation on overcoming concerns. And I'm going to use his material because when I heard it, it was so powerful that I've been doing it ever since, and I think it's phenomenal. So step number 1, there's a few guiding principles that we need to constantly be asking ourselves when we're helping people overcome their concerns. And if we don't have these guiding principles, no matter how eloquent we talk, no matter how much we try, no matter how much we practice, it won't work. Number 1, we have to first seek to understand someone, whoever we're talking with, right? The individual, before we are understood. First, seek to understand them, then to be understood. Number 2, people don't want to be overcome. They don't necessarily want us to overcome their concerns. They just want to be understood. And number 3, seek to do the right thing for that individual, even if it means that they don't engage in doTERRA. And this is super important. This has happened to me many times where I was like, you know what? You're right. It might not be the best fit for you. And that has to be on the forefront of your mind and your heart. That has to be your motive because they feel that and sense that. Plus, that's the right way to be, right? It makes you feel good. It's just the right way to be. Okay. So that was step number 1, those guiding principles. Step number 2 is just simply understanding the Ben Franklin method. You've used this throughout your life. This is very common. People kind of call it pros and cons, but basically Benjamin Franklin came up with this method where if he had to make a decision or if he had to overcome a concern, he would just take a piece of paper, split it in the middle, and on one side he'd write why I would do it. On the other side, he would write why I wouldn't do it. It's simple pros and cons, and we're going to be using this throughout overcoming concerns, right? Step number 3 is you need to know 3 things about a person, and not necessarily before you start, but if you know this before, but at least during the conversation, and that is 1, has this person ever considered or thought about doing what you want them to do? So, for example, if you want them to build a business with you, you're going to ask a question, have you ever considered or thought about building a doTERRA business? So you need to know that. Next, and if they have considered or thought about it, what has kept them from doing it before now? Why aren't they doing it then? And then number 3 is what caused them to consider it in the first place. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get really clear on why they're not engaged in the business if they've thought about it before, and their concerns will come out, right? We're trying to get clear on their concerns. So step number 4 is actually discovering concerns, and you will, at the end of this audio, you can actually see a chart that actually shows you how to work through discovering concerns. And I'm going to play for you some audios about discovering people's concerns, and you can hear exactly how it sounds. So, for instance, you would ask somebody, have you ever considered earning an income with doTERRA? And if they say no, then you would simply say, well, let me share with you why it's a great time to consider it. And you'd talk about, time freedom and financial freedom and residual income and the health benefits, okay? If they say yes, then you would say, well, what's kept you from doing it? So let's try it. Have you ever considered earning an income with doTERRA? Yeah. Well, what's kept you from doing it? And they might say something like, well, I really don't have the time. I'm so busy. And so what you do is you'd restate what they say is that, so time was the issue, like you're tight on time. And they're like, yeah. And then you would say, well, is there anything else besides time that kept you from doing a business with doTERRA? And they might say, well, also, I'm really tight on money. Like I didn't have enough for a kit and I didn't think I could, purchase every month. And you're like, okay, so time and money. And then you would say, is there anything else besides time and money that has kept you from building a business with doTERRA? They might say, no. Well, until you get to a no, you don't move on. So basically, some people will say, yeah, it's just time. Like other than time, that there's no real other reason. Or they might say, well, it was just money. Or they might say, well, it's MLM. I didn't want to talk to my friends and family. Or how about this one? I don't know if I believe in essential oils. So there's usually four top concerns: time, money, MLM, and a belief in the essential oils. So when you get to the point where you say, is there anything else that has kept you besides these things? And they say no, then you say, well, if it weren't for time and money, if that wasn't a concern, then is this something that you would want to do? And if they say yes, well, then what you're going to do is you're going to move on to the next step, okay? And it sounds like this. Step number 5. Well, you mentioned that you had considered doing this in the past. What caused you to consider it to begin with? Why did you want to do it? And they might say something like, well, I actually don't have a lot of time, and that's the one thing that I really want. And I know that there's some people that have built a doTERRA business and they have unbelievable time freedom with their family. And so you would basically say, so it's actually time freedom that you're really wanting. And they might say something like, well, yeah, I'd love to be able to travel and not have to be able to go to a job from 9 to 5, not have to like check in and check out. It's really important to me. And that's the thing that really attracted me. So once you find out the benefits, there are key benefits, right? And it might be multiple things. It might be they want to stay home more with their family and have time freedom. It might be financial freedom. It might be that they love to serve others and they love essential oils. Whatever it is, there's key benefits there, okay? And then step number 6 is, so knowing what the top concerns are, that we're going to focus mostly on overcoming the time concern, overcoming money concern, overcoming the MLM concern, or a concern on their belief in the essential oils. Like, honestly, that's almost all concerns of why people don't do the business. Time, money, it's network marketing, or I just don't know if essential oils work, or I don't have, a good experience with them yet. So moving on, step number 7. I'm going to read you the steps first, and then you're going to actually listen to how this sounds in real life, okay? So if somebody says, I don't have any time, you first want to understand completely what their life looks like and how time is very, very, very valuable to them and how they don't have a lot of it. Remember what we talked about? First, seek to understand, then to be understood. So you're actually going to almost jump on, it almost seems unnatural when someone says, I really don't have a lot of time. Like, I'm so busy. And instead of you saying, well, you're busy, look at me, I'm totally busy, and trying to prove to them how busy you are, this will never work. What you're wanting to understand is why they feel like they have no time, why they feel like they're so busy. And sometimes we might even bring up or say things like, well, and then you're forgetting this. If they say, well, I work and I go to school and I have a family. And then I might even say, well, not only that, you also have, a lot of responsibilities with the church and your civic responsibilities. No wonder you totally don't have a lot of time. And not only that, like, I know that you have outside family. There's a lot of things going on with your brothers and sisters, and you have to be taking care of your mom that's not feeling well. You really are tight on time. You want to understand them, and you want them to feel like that you are on their side, that you're taking their side. You're not trying to convince them how much time they actually do have. Next, you want to do the right thing for them. And this could mean that they don't do doTERRA for right now. I remember I talked to a lady and we were talking about doing the business, and she said, my marriage is totally on the rocks, and I love my husband and I love my kids, and I could lose everything. And it's because my husband just doesn't feel like I spend enough time with him, and I'm just not there. So for me to come back and say, well, I think if you gave doTERRA 15 or 20 hours a week, it could really benefit you in the future if you just sacrifice. You know, I remember saying, I agree with you. I think that this is probably not the right time. So you need to do the right thing for them. And it could mean that maybe doTERRA is not right now. So I want you to follow this specific sequence, okay? As you're talking with them about their life and their time and things that are going on, I want you to share the story of building a pipeline versus hauling buckets. And I'll go through it. And then I want you to specifically ask them a question that says, I want you to look 5 years into the future. And if you continue doing what you're doing now, do you see anything changing? And then, you know, we all have the same amount of time, not enough. We all have the same 24 hours in our day, but what determines our quality of life is the way we prioritize the time that we all have. And then finally, if you don't find a way to make the time to start building a pipeline, you'll never have the time freedom that you really want, because life will just continue to happen to all of us. So with that said, I want you to actually listen right now to an example of a builder that I talked to. So have you ever actually considered earning an income with doTERRA?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
So what kept you from doing it? Why didn't you?
My time.
Really?
Yeah, I ran
Tell me about
it. So I take 17 credits at school, which is a lot of time. It's about 60 hours worth of my time a week.
Okay, like with all the assignments and homework and
Yes.
stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
And then I also have a job.
Uh-huh.
And it takes me about an hour to get to school and an hour to get to my job. So I spend
Every day?
Yeah. So I spend about 2 hours riding on a train every day.
So you have school, you have your work,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a commute.
Yeah.
And you're also married, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure family takes a little bit of time too.
Yes, definitely.
Huh. So you're busy.
Yeah.
Do you get any time to yourself?
Maybe like 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah. What about the weekend? You have some time on the weekend?
Yeah, if I work really hard throughout the week to get schoolwork done, I usually have about a couple hours every weekend.
To play.
Yeah, with my family and everything.
Huh. Yeah, that sounds like you are busy.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that stops you besides time, which is, I can tell that you're really strapped for time. Is there anything else that has stopped you from doing doTERRA besides time?
No, just mainly my time.
So if time weren't a concern, then is this something that you would be interested in doing?
Yeah.
If you didn't have that big time issue?
Yeah, definitely.
Got it. Hey, so I have a question for you. You mentioned that you thought about it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing doTERRA. So what caused you to consider it to begin with?
I saw the time ability people had, like the ability to...
Time keeps coming up for you.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I saw those people be able to choose their own schedule and work for themselves so that they can maybe work 3 long days and have 4 days.
Oh, like
with
time
their
freedom
families.
you're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly. Time freedom was just so important to me because I want to spend it with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to miss things because I have a boss telling me, you have to come in and work 9 to 5, and if you don't, you're gone.
So that's what drew you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that actually you and your spouse like to travel too, right?
Yes, we do.
That's kind of hard when you're so strapped for time.
Yeah, exactly.
So was that another thing that you wanted more time with?
Yes, definitely. I wanted more time to take my kids out and travel and let them see the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I want to tell you a story, okay? A story about a man who hauled buckets for a living. He lived in a little village, and the nearest water source was quite a distance away. And every single day, he would put a board on his shoulders and one bucket on one side of the board and another bucket on the other side. And he'd walk to the river, and he'd dip his buckets in the river, fill them up, walk back to the village. And that's what he did for a living. He sold water for a living. And if he wanted to make more money, what do you think he had to do?
He had to spend more time.
He did have to spend more time. He had to go back and forth, and he had to haul more buckets, right? And after a while, he got really tired, and he wanted a different lifestyle. And then one day, inspiration came, and he decided he was going to build a pipeline because he wanted his freedom back. He wanted time freedom. And unfortunately, whenever you do something else, like right now in your life, one more thing would take more time from you. Same with him. He had to put a little bit of time into building this pipeline. And after it was built, and it took some time to build it, the day that it reached the village and he turned on the spigot, his whole life changed. Not only was he able to have fresh water for him and the villagers, but because he was now able to pay for his family's needs, he all of a sudden had time freedom that he never had before. And he felt free. So I want you to look 5 years into the future. And if you continue doing what you're doing now, do you see anything changing?
Not really. The major thing that would hopefully change is I'd be done with school.
Okay.
But, I mean, I would still wind up in a 9-to-5 job or something just like it.
Because you'd be working more hours at your work than you are right now,
yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
And then taking some of that job stuff home. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and actually, then, and kids, the more kids you have, the more time that takes, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, it's interesting. We all have the same amount of time. Not enough, right?
Exactly.
We all have the same 24 hours in our day. And what determines our quality of life is the way we prioritize the time we all have. So if you don't find a way to make the time to start building a pipeline, I don't know if you'll ever have the time freedom you're really looking for. Because life continues to happen for all of us, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to put on a scale the concerns that you have with time, right? Mm-hmm. All those time concerns and the benefits of what your life would look like with time freedom, which one would weigh more for you? Which one is more important?
Definitely time freedom.
For sure?
Oh, yes.
So just like that man in the story, are you willing to put a little bit of time that is super valuable and precious to you right now, into building that pipeline, into creating that financial freedom?
Of course.
You are?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad.
Okay, so if you notice, I didn't overcome his problems with giving him more time, right? I didn't say, okay, well, we could do this and we could do this and we'll move this around and, you have more time than you actually think. I just understood where he was at. And I think he really felt understood because I even brought up some things about his time that maybe he wasn't bringing up. And so he felt validated. And then I simply reminded him of the benefits of doing this business, of why he wanted to do it in the first place was because of time. And it was specifically because he doesn't want to be like this forever. And he, and then you go, well, in 5 years, do you see anything changing? And this is a powerful way, a simple, powerful, and duplicatable way of overcoming the concern of time. Now, let's go to step number 8. How about money concern? This comes up a lot, right? This is one of the most common concerns. And once again, let's just talk it through and then you can hear what it sounds like in real life. So understand what their life looks like, why they're so tight with money, right? They have to know that you really do understand how little money they have. They have to feel validated. Next, be committed to do the right thing with them. So if it doesn't mean that they engage with doTERRA, then they don't. Next, how about following this sequence? It's going to look like this. Once again, we're going to share a story about the pipeline versus hauling buckets. We're going to ask them the question, if you look 5 years in the future, do you see anything changing? And then we're going to simply say, we all have the same amount of money, not enough, right? We all feel that way. What determines our quality of life is the way we prioritize the money we do have. And if you don't find a way to invest a little money to start building a pipeline, you'll always be hauling buckets and you'll never have the financial freedom to do the things that are important to you. So those are the steps we're going to go through, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to hear it right now.
So have you ever considered earning an income with doTERRA?
Yes, I've considered it before.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kept you from doing it?
Money, financial reasons. I mean,
Really?
I recently got married, and that caused
yeah.
me to get a more stable job that was financially more secure.
But it doesn't pay very much, huh?
No, it doesn't pay very much at all. And the little money that I do have, I have to spend it on funding my side business that happens in the summertime.
Oh, you travel for it, yeah. So you have to pay for traveling.
Yeah, I have to pay for the flights and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. And didn't you just get a new car?
Well, I totaled my old car, which was a massive problem because it was not even drivable, so we had to get a completely new car.
Yeah. And I heard something about you and, I don't know, eating the same food for a while. I don't even know how long.
So over the summertime when all the food came into harvest in our garden, we ate it for a whole entire month. Just the zucchini, tomatoes, and apples for
that was
a
it,
whole
huh?
month. Yeah.
It was healthy at least. How did
Yes.
your new husband feel about?
Well, he hates tomatoes, so that was kind of a struggle.
So you ate the tomatoes. He ate the zucchinis and apples.
Soup.
So yeah, money is a issue for you, huh?
Yes, it is.
It sounds almost like every dollar is accounted for.
Yeah, and so it's hard for me to think of spending more or working less hours because that means making less money.
Yeah. So for like doTERRA, maybe purchasing a kit or spending money on the oils consistently every month, is that kind of what held you back?
That seems like something that financially isn't feasible right now for my situation and me just barely getting married and trying to save up to buy a new house and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I have a question for you. So you said that you had considered joining doTERRA in the past, right? What caused you to want to do it in the first place?
Well, before when I wasn't married, I was kind of wanting to take a risk to make my financial situation better.
Okay.
And so I'd considered doTERRA because I wanted some more financial benefits that I wasn't receiving from any job that I had in the past.
Like what? What kind of benefits?
Just being able to have financial freedom and for my future family at that time.
Like residual income, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. To have more residual income so that I wouldn't have to work so much.
Uh-huh. And what do you mean for your future family?
So for like my kids and stuff, so that I could be a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, okay.
And be able to be there for things like sports games or whatever they're doing.
So basically the reason why you initially were interested in doTERRA is because you just got married and as you're planning a family, you want to be able to stay home but have financial freedom with residual income.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So I actually want to tell you a story. It's a story of a man who hauled buckets for a living. He lived in a little village, and this village was far away from the nearest water source. And every day he would walk back and forth. He would put like a stick or a board on his shoulder, and he would put like one bucket on one side and hang the other bucket on the other. And he'd walk to the water source, the river, and he'd fill up the buckets. And he'd go back to the village and he'd get paid for bringing water to people. That was his job. Well, if he wanted to make more money, he had to haul more buckets. And after a while, he got really tired and he wanted a different lifestyle. And one day, inspiration came and he decided that he was going to take some of what little money he did have and invest it into building a pipeline. And it took some time, and it did take some money, which at the beginning made things a little bit harder on him. But as that pipeline built and it reached the village, the day he turned on the spigot, his whole life changed. Not only was he able to benefit himself and the villagers with fresh water, but he had an unlimited supply
of money, and it changed his life. So I want you to look 5 years into the future. And if you continue doing what you're doing now, do you see anything changing?
No, I just see myself working, full-time job or switching a job, trying to find something that's a little bit better or whatever. But
it actually might get harder in the future if you do have kids, right?
yeah.
So, it's interesting. We all have the same amount of money, not enough. But what determines our quality of life is the way we prioritize the money we do have. So if you don't find a way to invest a little money to start building a pipeline, you'll always be hauling buckets and will never have freedom to do the things that are really important to you. So what do you think about that?
That makes sense, but sometimes it's really hard to stop hauling buckets. Because he got that money right away from hauling those buckets, and the pipeline does take investment and time for it to pay off.
Well, let's talk about the original reason why you were interested in doTERRA. So how important is it for you to actually be home with your kids, have financial freedom? Is that a really important thing in your life?
Yeah, it's one of the most important things in my life, for sure.
To have financial freedom, be able to be at your kids' games.
Yeah, just to be a supportive mom that doesn't have to clock in from 9 to 5 every single day. And, my kids feel like I never even get to see them because by the time I get home, there's not much time even left in the day to do anything.
Yeah. So if you were to put the concerns on a scale, does that make sense? If you were to put your money concern on a scale and how heavy that is, because that seems like it's a big thing in your life right now, and your desire to be financially free and the benefits of having financial freedom with your family, what would weigh more? What's more important?
Financial freedom in the long run is for sure more important to
It
me.
is.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just hard overcoming that because I know that I need the money to be able to pay for the things, but financial freedom is more important.
So are you willing, just like the man was willing to put a little bit of money into building a pipeline, are you willing to do that so you can have that benefit in the future?
Yes, I am willing to do that.
Yeah.
Notice how, once again, we don't have to overcome their concerns, right? We just have to understand them and understand that she feels really tight financially. But the one thing that she wants more than anything is financial freedom in the future. And it becomes really obvious to her that, well, if you have to weigh the two out, not having a lot of money right now or having, residual income in the future so she can be the mom that she wants to be, well, then there's really no contest at all. Now, next we're going to talk about another really big concern that people have, and that's that doTERRA is an MLM. I had a really big concern with this. This was probably my biggest concern when I started the business. It wasn't time, it wasn't money, it wasn't, if I didn't believe in essential oils, although I had a long way to go with that too, but it was basically that it was a network marketing company. This was a huge concern of mine. So as we go through this and as we overcome this concern, you have to remember how you felt at the beginning. And probably most of you felt the same way, that you weren't super excited about network marketing companies and MLM companies. And we need to remember that this is a big issue for people, one of the biggest. And so we need to first understand why they don't like network marketing companies. They need to know that that they really don't like MLMs. They need to just feel that. So then, once again, like we've said before, you have to be committed to do the right thing for them. And this could mean that they don't engage with doTERRA right now. Then I want you to follow this sequence. It's a little bit different sequence, okay? We're going to talk about traditional, after we understand their concern,
and help them feel really validated. We're going to talk about traditional MLMs, what you don't like, and list all of them. We can go through it, right? I even say to people, I'm the same way. I don't like MLMs either. And they're like, what? You're in one, type thing. And then what you do like, and then we'll list them. Then we're going to talk about, the difference between most MLMs and doTERRA. And there's a very big difference, right? So if we go back really quick, and why are all the reasons why people don't like traditional MLMs? Well, people say that, only people at the top make money, so people don't really make money. The products are overpriced. They don't want to pressure friends and family or take advantage of their friends and family. They hate the hype all around, network marketing, like, go, 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 you can do this. All you have to do is just sign up and sign 2 people up and you'll be rich type thing, But there's a lot of things that many people do like, most people like, and that's, building a pipeline, having residual income, having time freedom, having financial freedom, and having extra money that they didn't have before. Not going into a job every day, right? Then you go on to talk about the difference between most MLMs and doTERRA. And basically, it's simple that most MLMs have a compensation plan, and they create the compensation plan first, the engine, how to make money. And then they have to go out and find a product to make the compensation plan legal. So they're like, okay, this is our business model. This is how we're going to make money now. What are we going to sell? Then they sell an opportunity. Most people sell the get rich quick scheme, right? Get in fast, get in early, get all your friends in, and you can just chill. You can retire. You don't have to do anything. Life will be great. So they sell an opportunity. But what usually happens is when people don't get the check they want, when people feel like, they were oversold something and they're not having their expectations met, well, then they stop buying the product because they didn't get into the company for the product, and it's not product-based. There's no education behind how the product is changing lives, right? And sometimes there's a little, but it's not the main part of that business. And so when the checks stop, or when they lose interest in the business, or when they're disappointed in the business, they no longer purchase the product, and then everything goes down. All paychecks go down. And this is why most MLMs are so rocky. And you try and it's just never stable. Well, doTERRA is a completely different company. It's a great company with a great product, and product came first. And then they simply asked a marketing question, which is, how should we best market our product? Because conventionally you do TV, radio, mailers, flyers, billboards, online, on the shelf. Those are like the traditional ways to market product, right? Well, the unconventional way is taking the money that would typically go to conventional marketing and giving it to me and you, and to teach people how to take care of their family naturally, and how to use essential oils. And then when you show them the difference between doTERRA and between other network marketing companies, they seem to just relax. And you simply ask this question: do you think it's possible to communicate to the public what essential oils can do in any of these conventional marketing methods? Right? Do you really think that's possible? And most of the time, especially if they've had a really good experience with the oils, they'll be like, no, I would have no idea what it would be like on the shelf. And then you simply say, well, doTERRA is a great company with a great product. They simply chose the best way to market their products. And the products that are being purchased are independent of the opportunity, meaning that people buy the products regardless if they're going to make any money. In fact, 85% of the people in our company didn't get into doTERRA to make any money, not $1. Their expectation was not money. So they continue to buy the product if they don't get checks. And they're happy, and that's what creates a really legitimate residual income. Our our retention rates are 4.5 times the industry average. And so truly doTERRA is a very, very different company than most other network marketing companies. I don't even think it should be in the same category, really. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to listen to how to overcome a concern of MLM.
So have you ever considered earning an income with doTERRA?
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Yeah? What kept you from doing it? What keeps you from doing it?
Well, I guess it's just I don't want to be pushy with my friends and family and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. So like you don't want to feel like you're maybe using their relationships.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So maybe it's how the company is set up, the marketing, the way that it's marketed.
Yeah, I don't like MLMs in general.
Yeah. Yeah, so network marketing, MLM, that's what kind of kept you from doing it or keeps you from doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah. I hear you. Like, I understand that. So basically, is there anything else besides MLM? Is there any other concerns that you have about doing this?
So if the MLM thing wasn't an issue?
Yeah. If it wasn't MLM.
Yeah, I don't think there would be anything.
Okay. So if MLM wasn't an issue, then this would be something you'd want to do, that you'd be interested in.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay. So can we talk a little bit about MLMs?
Sure.
Okay. Tell me what you don't like about MLMs.
Oh, well, like I said, I mean, just sometimes it seems like people get so pushy with their friends and family and just trying to sell them something, and yeah, it feels icky to me.
Yeah. And like every single time you walk anywhere, somebody like avoiding you because they know, oh my
God,
goodness, they sell MLM, right?
Yeah,
Or
I
something
value
like that.
my relationships.
Yeah. What about this? Have you ever heard of only some people make money? Only people on the top making money.
It seems like that a lot of people do MLMs but don't make money, right? And so yeah, I think there's just maybe some people at the top that make money.
Or one of the things that always bothered me was overpriced products, that they would make their products so much more than if you were to buy them on the shelf.
Yeah.
What about hype? Like all that with
The
MLM.
rah-rah.
Yeah.
I don't like rah-rah. I don't get into that kind of thing.
Yeah. What have you
Definitely
heard? Like
not.
what have people
just like I've seen like some videos online where people are like on stage with this huge check, dancing and waving this huge check in the air. It's like, oh boy, it's just so not me.
Yeah. Or how about when people say it will be easy? You just have to sign up. Have you heard that before? Like
that doesn't seem
just get
true.
2 friends. You know what I mean? And then build for you. Yeah. Can I tell you that I don't really like MLMs either? Does that surprise you?
Well, I guess a little awkward because you're doing it. So
yeah, like those same things that bother you really bothered me.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely, really bothered me. And so I felt the exact same way. Like I didn't want any of my friends when they saw my phone, a phone call come in, think, oh, I'm not going to take this, right? That was the last thing that I wanted. There are some things that I do like about network marketing. Can you think of some things? Like you mentioned that you had considered it at one point. What would make you even consider it? What are the reasons?
Well, obviously I think everybody would like to make more money, and so it seems like if I could make more money doing this, that'd be great.
Sure.
The other thing is my job definitely isn't residual, but I think that network marketing could be residual. At least I hear it could be residual, right?
That's what people say.
Yeah. And so, it would be really nice to have something residual,
Yeah.
So that when, let's say, I go on a vacation with my family, I'm still making money, or if I
when you
get
sleep?
sick or whatever,
when
I sleep, sure.
Yeah. One of the things I love is the time freedom, like you talked about, right?
Yeah.
And residual income is a huge thing. The other thing is just the health benefits that come with being really involved with this business. My kids haven't gone to the doctor for things besides broken bones for a long, long time, right?
Yeah, that's really cool. I think for me, like the residual income creates that time freedom, like that you just said. You know, like I don't want to be beholden to my boss that I have to work at a specific time or a specific number of hours or whatever. So I really like to be able to work when I want, how much I want, and that kind of thing.
You know, can I tell you why I'm actually doing doTERRA as a business and how I overcame the same exact feelings that you have right now?
Sure.
Well, it's the difference between traditional MLMs and most MLMs and doTERRA. I honestly don't even think doTERRA should be put in the same category of network marketing or MLMs.
Really?
Let me tell you why. So traditional MLMs, basically, most of them, what they do is they find a money engine first. They come up with a compensation plan of how everyone's going to make money. And they create that first, and then they go out and they just find a product. Find a product that they feel like would make that company legal, like legitimate. Okay?
Okay.
And then they create the company. They start the company. And then they sell an opportunity with hype and excitement and like, get your friends in and do this and do that. Not necessarily that the product is changing lives, right? Or that people even believe in the product.
Okay.
And then what happens is if somebody jumps on board because of the hype or whatever, because they want to make money, but they don't make as much money or the checks aren't coming in or they're disappointed, they stop purchasing the product because they didn't come in for the product in the first place. Well, doTERRA, the whole thing just crumbles. doTERRA is very different. Okay, doTERRA is a great company with great products, and they've simply asked themselves a marketing question: How do we market this product? Right? What's the best way to market this product? And conventional, the way that we conventionally market things is through TV, radio, mailers, flyers, billboards, online, or on the shelf, like retail. On the shelf.
Sure.
Well, unconventional is taking the money that they would spend on all those ways of marketing and giving it to me or you so that we can talk to our friends and family and help them to be healthier and live more natural lives. So
the individual distributors, basically, they're the marketing.
They're the marketing hand, right?
It. That makes sense.
And the question that I want to ask you is, do you really think it's possible to communicate to the public what an essential oil can do in any of these conventional marketing methods? Like, do you remember what happened when I gave you peppermint for your allergies?
Yeah, it's almost like you have to try it to feel it, right? Because
it's very experiential.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're right. I think it'd be really hard on a shelf, right? Little bottle of peppermint, I don't know, $20 or whatever the price is approximately. I think people would just walk right by that, say like, why 20? Why would I pay $20 for that little thing, right?
Yeah. And they would have no idea that what it did for you in just 3 days.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So basically, doTERRA is a great company with great products. They simply chose the best way to market their products. And the products that are being purchased, people buy them independent of any kind of business. In fact, 85% of the people that are in doTERRA, they never ever want to make money with doTERRA.
Really?
They don't do it as a business. They do it for the product.
Really?
So it doesn't matter if they ever make $1. They continue to buy the product for their health.
That's so interesting. They just keep buying it?
They do, yeah. In fact, we have a 4.5 times retention rate than industry average. 4.5 times more people continue to buy our product than industry average.
Wow.
Because it's a fantastic product, right?
Cool.
So, let's talk a little bit about when you said about time freedom, that was one of the things that was really important for you.
Right.
And that you didn't want to be beholden to a boss. Or I want to tell you a little story about a man who lived in a village far away from the closest water source. And what he did for a living is he hauled buckets. So every day he would take buckets, he'd put like a stick or a board on his back and put bucket on one side, bucket on the other, walk down to the river, which was kind of far away, dip the buckets in the water, and walk back to the village. And he would sell water. He'd sell the buckets of water. Okay. And he did this for a living. And when he wanted to make more money, what do you think he had to do?
We just have to carry more buckets,
Yeah,
run faster.
Yeah, he had to go back and forth more, right? Which was hard on his time freedom. And after a while, he got really tired, and he wanted a different lifestyle. He wanted his freedom back.
I would too.
Yeah, for sure. So he had an idea. Inspiration came, and he decided to build a pipeline. And at first, it was a little bit harder on his time because not only did he still have to haul buckets, but he's now building a pipeline. And as that pipeline got closer and closer to the village, he thought to himself, I'm finally going to be free. And the day that he turned on the spigot, everything changed. Not only was he able to provide an incredible service to him and the villagers with fresh water, but because he was able to sell a lot of that water and pay for everything he needed, he got his time freedom back. And he had unlimited time freedom.
He didn't have to go running back to the river back and forth. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so if you were to kind of put on a scale in your mind, like the obstacles or concerns that you had initially about network marketing on one side, which were kind of heavy, kept you from doing it, right?
Right.
And on the other side, that dream of time freedom, of not being beholden to a boss, of being able to have residual income and time freedom to do what you want, what would be more important to you? What would weigh more?
Well, I mean, as you're talking, it seems like some of my concerns are maybe less of concerns if doTERRA is different the way you say, not so hypey and stuff like that. And
yeah, I had the same concerns you did, absolutely. And I decided to put those concerns aside because I noticed and I saw that doTERRA was very different. And I've been able to get that time freedom that you've wanted. It's been amazing for me and my family.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. Yeah, I think that would be really important to me.
All right. Notice that by the end of the conversation, he almost resolves the concern for himself when he says, well, after we've talked, maybe my concerns really aren't there anymore. So this is a really powerful and a very effective way of overcoming the concern of MLMs. Okay, step number 10 is, what if they just don't believe in essential oils? I think this is the easiest one to overcome because our product is so great. It's so awesome. So if they don't understand the power of essential oils, or they even believe in essential oils, you first, of course, you've got to understand why they don't believe in essential oils. You can't jump in all the time and go, but did you try, did you see that, or have you read this? They need to know that you're willing to listen to their concerns. Just like with time or with money or with MLMs, the same thing with essential oils, right? So if they really love modern medications, you absolutely next can agree that many modern medications are a blessing. They're wonderful. I mean, my brother's a surgeon and he's created miracles and performed huge operations that have saved lives, right? So it's okay for you to agree with that because, by the way, doTERRA believes that modern medication and essential oils can work hand in hand. And then you can simply just let them try a sample. Or if they've tried essential oils and haven't had a very good results that they were looking for, then you give them the opportunity to try more. And then you just set some correct expectations. You basically say, essential oils are similar to medication in this way. When you have an ailment and you go to the doctor and receive a prescription, and if you use it and it doesn't work, you usually don't think to yourself, I'm never going to try medication again because it's all useless. What you think is, that medication didn't work well on my body, so I need to go back to the doctor and ask him for something different. We have been programmed this since we were little, right? We've been programmed this way that we understand that medications affect people differently. Well, essential oils are similar to medication in this way that, they're not going to have the exact same effect on every single person the same way. So if you use an oil and you don't get the results you're looking for, that's okay. You can try something else and we can offer something else. And if you're patient enough with essential oils like you are with medication, we'll totally find something that is safer, cheaper, and more effective for you. So listen to the next call. Now, this was a really long call. She talked a lot, and so I just took snippets out of it. She definitely believes in antibiotics. She believes in medication, and listen to how we were able to overcome her concern.
I love it. I don't have a testimony of essential oils yet. I know
know.
they're great, but I am not there yet. Really, really pro medical science, and so I kind of feel like there's a bit of an interest conflict there, because I really do believe that medical science has some answers for us, but not all the answers.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in a combination of Chinese, Eastern medicine and philosophy and Western science.
So do I. My brother's a surgeon, and I absolutely believe there's a place for that. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I watched my child's life be saved by a surgeon. And
Yeah.
I don't think I would have, frankly, administered, only essential oils to my kids with strep
Sure.
throat, because I believe antibiotics are the best way to go. So, I feel like until I could really have a testimony of it, I couldn't.
You couldn't talk about it, yeah, for sure.
And I wouldn't do a good job with it. Yeah, I couldn't talk about it. And yes, I would love to have a career going forward.
So we talked for a little while about essential oils, and so I just offered this suggestion.
I hands down agree with you that first, maybe we just should focus. I mean, I know that I've given you some oils and stuff, but I think maybe I should just let you have more of an experience with essential oils, and then.
Okay, so we continue to have a conversation about medication and essential oils, and we kind of came together. I think she felt more validated. By the end of the conversation, she was a little bit more open to trying more. Listen to this.
In your bathroom, you had deep blue.
Yeah.
And it's last week, and I put a little bit on Benji's nose, and on his chest.
Yeah.
Because I thought, that's deep blue. Let me try it. Because I had heard of it, and I swear to you, the sinus was cleaned up.
No, it's awesome. I should bring.
It wasn't meant for that.
No, I should totally bring. I should bring you over some deep blue for Benji for sure. For sure. I should.
What I could do is I could start by just buying a little deep blue, buying a little breeze, because those products I know are good. And I'm trying to think if there's something that helps alleviate depression.
So one of the easiest ways to just overcome a concern with a belief in essential oils is that you let them use more, and you explain to them how essential oils are similar to medication and how they don't work the same on everybody, and let's try it again. So that's something that has worked very, very well for me. Let's go to the final step. That's step number 11. And it's going back to the beginning of remember to seek to do the right thing for the individual, even if that means that maybe joining doTERRA isn't the right thing. And maybe you're not going to find a builder with them, because remember, relationships are the most important thing. Here's a call that I have with actually a good friend of mine that decided that she just wasn't interested. So listen to this call.
I'm really excited to start taking some more art classes and start exploring that end. And this is so hard because I know this is a sweet opportunity, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for me, to do something like this. But I don't think if essentially it's not going to make me happy overall. It's not going to bring me the joy that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Anyways, I know for some people it's perfect, and I'm so happy. But at least for me in our family situation, I don't feel it's right.
That totally makes sense, and I so respect that, and I love you.
Thank you. I know, and I'm happy for you, what you're building, and everything you do. You're incredible. You hit things running and make things, work like no one else has before, and it's amazing. Very creative and smart the way you do your business, and I really admire that. It's really impressive.
Well, I
totally support that. And I know you love the oils. It has nothing to do with the oils, and I know you love natural things, but I totally get it. You know, there's different times in our lives and different seasons, and honestly, just different people are supposed to do certain things in their lives, and for you, it sounds like it's going to be other things that you went to school for and that will make you happier. And when it all comes down to it, as my friend, I just want you to be happy.
You know, we just need to remember that the most important thing in life, far more important than business or money or rank advancing, is the relationships that we create, the friendships that we have. And you really can be incredible at this business and keep your friendships and build on your friendships, grow your friendships during this business, whether they're doing it with you or whether they're not doing it. I have some great friends that I support in their own businesses, and I have great friends that I support in this business. So it's totally possible. And that's really what we're all about, right? So let's go back through and let's step by step go over what we're doing with this, right? Overcoming concerns. Step number 1, we need to understand before we're understood. Step number 2, we need to realize we're going to try and do the pros and cons, Ben Franklin method, right? Step number 3, we need to know a few things. Has this person ever considered it? You know, what's kept them from doing it before? And, you know, why did they consider it in the past? Step number 4 is that discovering the concerns. And the easiest way is just to look after this audio at the graphic, and you can just follow through. Step number 5 is finding the key benefits. Like, why would you really want to be doing this? What made you interested in the first place? Step number 6 is knowing what the top concerns are: time, money, MLM, and a belief in essential oils. So step number 7, we went through, I don't have any time. And what I want you to do with that is study that out, get really familiar, and literally try and go over that and practice that script over and over and over and over again. Step number 8 is I don't have any money. Do the same thing. Practice that script over and over and over again. Step number 9, I don't like MLMs. Go through that whole thing. Practice it over and over and over again. Sometimes it's even better if you just listen to me, practice it. Listen to me, practice it. You will start repeating the hauling bucket story in your sleep. Step number 10, I don't believe in essential oils. Go over that and practice that script. So your assignment obviously is going to be practicing the scripts of the 4 biggest concerns, right? And that is time, money, MLM, and they don't believe in the oils. And we will talk to you on the next call.